Hello and welcome to the Comixly Podcast, the official podcast of Comixly.com. My name is Joseph and you are listening to episode number 10. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited about this episode. Beyond breaking into double digits with the episodes, which is kind of exciting. Angela and we had a lot of fun recording this episode. It's a little bit of a musical mashup. We had two topics that we wanted to cover today. So in the first half of the episode, Angela made she's a really big fan of BTS, so she made me a Spotify playlist and gave me some songs to listen to and some videos to watch. Sort of focused around their new-ish album. I think it came out in early November, their new album B, but also just a more general discussion of BTS and K-pop. So she was really excited for that, and I think I ended up being more excited than I sort of planned to be, which was really nice to feel that way. And then in the second half of the episode, we talked about our favorite Sufjan Stevens Christmas/holiday music. We did an episode about Sufian a couple months ago, his new album Ascension. He is, at least one of the reasons I really like him is because he does put out a lot of Christmas music, and that's something that's for both of us is like hearing him and his version of this type of music around the holidays has it brings back some like really warm, happy memories for us. So that stuff is important for us. And we decided to talk about that a little bit, run through some of our favorite songs and just sort of what we get from his music at this time of year. And what his music, about this time of year, like what he's saying with it. So yeah, we had a lot of fun with this one. It's definitely a bit of a mashup, two things that you wouldn't think go together, but I think you'll really enjoy this episode. I hope the like fun we had, having this discussion comes across in the recording. So yeah, hope you enjoy the episode and we'll be back in a little bit.
Start off this episode by sharing that Joseph was an hour late to recording this, and yes. I have just been sitting here waiting for him because I guess I'm just more dedicated to this podcast.
Why are you sitting there?
Because I was expecting you to be ready.
What were you do? You didn't do anything?
I was watching YouTube.
Okay, what were you watching?
I'm not going to tell you because it's going to be my what's making me happy or excited.
Okay.
So,
well, see, it was productive in that sense.
No, because I had something else that made me happy, and now I don't get to talk about it.
Wait, why not?
Because I found something else that makes me happy.
Oh, you replaced it. Okay.
I replaced it.
All right. Well.
All right. Yeah.
My bad, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
My bad. Angela's more dedicated to this podcast than I am.
Extremely. It's just we're gonna change the name. It's just gonna be called Angela.
Angela.
All right. But actually, one of the topics that we're talking about today was my idea. I'm very excited. What is it, Joseph?
Well, it's BTS.
Yes.
And this is an interesting episode, right? Because it's got like two halves. And I think we're both excited about the different halves. And
Definitely.
each other's half,
yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, okay. But first we're going to start off with my part. So, I guess I'll just jump right into it. I made Joseph listen to BTS. For those of you who don't know, BTS is a Korean boy band consisting of 7 members. And they released an album, their 9th album, on November 20th. And Joseph, you did not listen to BTS before this, correct?
No. Can I ask a couple questions before we get in?
Of course, yes.
So, do you think, like, for anyone listening, do you think like mom and dad, like we have like mom and dad, like they're pretty. Our mom barely knows how to use the computer. Do you think they've heard of BTS? Do you think like they're that big that like mom and dad know who they are? People who like don't follow music or like
Well,
pop culture very much?
they've heard of BTS because of me.
Because of you. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So when Dad takes me home, picks me up from Madison on the car ride back, we're listening to my BTS playlist on Spotify, which Joey will link in the description.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. We're gonna have the other half of our episode's also music, so we're gonna have a bunch of links in the
Yeah.
description for this episode. It's gonna be really good. So
Yeah.
what does Dad say, or is he
He's
just not paying attention?
he's like, why would you listen to music you can't understand the words to? Which
Okay.
is, I will get into that later.
Yeah.
But yeah. So to prepare you for this, I made you a Spotify playlist consisting of a bunch of different BTS songs. Did you listen to it?
I listened to about half of it. I listened to that. You also made me a short YouTube playlist. I listened to that a couple times, and then I listened to about half of that Spotify playlist.
Okay.
Um,
Did anything stand out to you?
yeah, it's on the Spotify playlist and it's on the YouTube one, but I really like the song. I really like the song "Life Goes On." I think that's one of.
That is the first song from the album B.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that song's quite good. The song, I think, on the same album, Blue Gray.
Mm-hmm. I figured you'd like that one. It's sad.
And then I think I was noticing mostly that I probably preferred it when they were singing slash rapping slash performing in Korean. I probably prefer those songs more than the songs that they performed in English. I don't really know why. I guess like this isn't. I don't listen to like a ton of pop music. Like I really like Carly Rae Jepsen. I don't. Taylor Swift's 1989 is a really good album. So I definitely. It's not like I'm not saying I don't like this genre at all. But I really, when I listen to music, mostly I'm really listening for the words.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's stuff in English is like, it's good, it's well written or whatever. It's not like the sort of meaning that I go to most of, like that, we talked about Sufian before. We're going to talk about Sufian in the second half of this episode, where I go to his songs for like the like meaning and the depth of his words. And like, I don't think BTS is writing has the same depth. Like no like shots. I'm not trying to like put them down or whatever, but like, I guess, yeah. And so I think I'm drawn to their Korean music a little bit more because I think, and I don't know if you find this, but I think it sounds more interesting. I'm not exactly sure why, but like, I don't know any Korean at all, but like they're, I don't know if this is fair. Like, I guess I wonder what you would think about this. Someone who listens a lot, like, does their music sound like more natural to you when they're performing in Korean than when they're performing in English?
Well, I guess my take would be sort of going back to like why, like when Dad's like, why do you listen to music you can't understand? And there are like those little snippets of English in their songs, like mainly in the chorus or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like how it's like a mixture of Korean and English because the English is like it's sort of like, it doesn't, I'm trying to think of like, okay, so like the song Life Goes On, like you can understand like an echo in the forest, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But then like the rest of the words, like because you can't understand them, you can sort of like not interpret them how you want, but like sometimes I feel like when I listen to music, like English music, the lyrics can like influence the way how I feel about the song. Mm-hmm. Whereas when they sing in Korean, like because I can't understand it, I'm not necessarily as influenced like from like the lyrics, more so of like the music, their voices, like I don't know, it's kind of just like the vibe, if that's like the right way.
Absolutely right. I think they all, I guess there's 7 of them or 9 of them?
7.
Okay, there's, and like, I don't know any of their names, I can't tell them apart, but like, no one in that group has a bad voice. Like every one of them has an amazing singing voice. And I think when I'm listening to them in Korean, and I think this is what you're saying, like I'm a little bit more tuned in just to how does that person's voice sounds and not what is that person saying, right? I think it
Right.
like switches my mind is thinking about it differently, right? If I'm hearing the words, I'm like, okay, what does this mean? But if I'm hearing this language this other language that I can't understand, like I'm tuned into like how it sounds.
Yeah. And
And
I think that like a good kind of example of that is I don't know how much like of like the hip hop genre music I gave you of theirs, but for me it's like I don't really listen to like American hip hop,
mhm,
right? And so BTS they do have like a rap line. So they do have like three rappers in the group. And then sometimes they go off and do their own like hip hop songs. And I
those
really
three.
like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I really like listening to those because it's like, that's like, in like American hip hop, like that's what you're listening to, right? Like the words, because there's not so much like a melody. I mean, there is, but like, you know. Um, but it's like, especially when I listen to, let's see, Suga is one of the members, and he also has he releases music under another name. I don't know how to pronounce it. Agus D. Um, and I listen to his music, and like I don't understand the words, but like his tempo, like his cadence, like just like the sound of his voice, like I get really into that because even though like I can't understand it, you know.
hmm hmm So he releases that music solo, or those other three have a separate band?
No. So like, let's say that the B album probably isn't like a great. Well, actually, yeah. So in each album, so there's seven members, but not all seven members are singing every single song.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the song Blue and Gray, I believe four people sang it. And then so there's like in other albums, they have songs where it's just RM, J-Hope, and Suga. They will just sing songs because like they're like the rappers of the group, so it's like a different vibe, but it's still under that album. It's still under that name.
Okay.
And then Suga is the only one that releases music under like releases his own albums, his own individual albums outside of the BTS albums, but the other members also do have like release singles. It's
Like,
kind of complicated.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh. And okay. And so I don't know, can you do we want to like keep talking about the music, or like I guess I'm also like interested in has like listening to BTS do you listen to other K-pop
Yeah.
or J-pop, or like has this gotten to you more into that genre, or like are you like
Yeah.
just a BTS fan?
No, definitely. So I started listening to BTS, I think like around this time last year. Um, and when it comes to K-pop, mainly I listen to BTS. I also like Stray Kids, The Rose, Tomorrow by Together. So there's a lot of K-pop bands that I listen to, but it also has gotten me interested into Chinese pop. But I found that Chinese pop is a little bit harder to find because I feel like Korea has like a very strong cultural output that like it's really kind of like come into like America, but I feel like it's harder. Like Chinese pop culture doesn't really have that, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
like Japanese like anime and they have like J-pop, and then Korean K-pop. It's like I've watched all the K-dramas. So it has been interesting. I've been trying to find like C-pop, J-pop, not so much J-pop, honestly. Calvin likes J-pop, so that's how I listen to it.
I've
Yeah.
never I know BTS. Is there like when Calvin, all right, so if Calvin's listening to like J-pop, is there like a noticeable different, like, do they sound different? Do they have, you know, like, is there a noticeable difference? Like, in J-pop, songs generally sound this kind of way, or they have this sort of like melody or something, and in K-pop, they're sort of constructed this way generally, or is there a lot of overlap?
Well, I'm going to pretend that you asked me about C-pop instead because I don't listen to J-pop that much, but
yeah.
I'm no expert. I mean, I feel like I can tell, especially with C-pop and K-pop, is because I feel like the Chinese language has quite a different and distinct sound from Korean language.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially because like tones and just like different pronunciations. So I can kind of tell. It kind of depends what band also you're listening to.
Okay.
So I don't really have like a straight answer on that, but it is, I think you could definitely tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when, like, does in the, so you listed off a bunch of those K-pop bands. Are there like similarities among either, like, I don't know, are they like all boy bands? Are there like similarities in the way that they sound? Are there like similarities in the things that they like sing about? Or is K-pop like in the same way that like pop music in the US is like very, very broad, is K-pop also like very, very broad?
Yeah, I think it is very, very broad, because especially like, honestly, if you even just look at like a BTS album, and like one of like the Love Yourself albums, there's different types of music, or it kind of like bounces off of different types of genres. And I think that all of the bands, or most of them, kind of have that same vibe. Like one song is like more ballad, and one song is like more like dance or electric.
Okay.
Yeah, all of those bands I listed off, they all were boy bands, just because I guess that's just what I like, apparently. Yeah.
Okay. And they're all like all boy bands, like exclusively boy bands.
No. Okay. I'm like looking at my Spotify playlist. Most of them are.
Most of them. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you liked Life Goes On and Blue and Gray. Do you know much about like this album?
This is the quarantine. It sounds.
This is the quarantine
album.
Right.
This is the album they made. Well, I mean, it's interesting, right? So, they live in South Korea, right? They don't live in LA, right?
No, they live in South Korea.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to ask if they live in North Korea. I was like,
no. They live in South Korea. Right? So, while the South Korea is still like affected by the pandemic, right? Like China, Japan, South Korea, like they all handled it and like got it much more under control much more quickly than the US did. So like they haven't been in quarantine this whole time, right? Like BTS, they made this. Did they make this like right when it happened?
Not sure. I think. Okay. I'm just looking at Wikipedia. On April 17th, 2020, RM confirmed that the band. RM is the leader of the group, by the way. Okay. He's the one that is most fluent in English. So when they're on like talk shows or whatever, he's usually the one who's like speaking for the group.
Okay.
But RM confirmed that the band was working on a new album. So April 2020, you can like guess when that was in the terms of like quarantine. Okay. But something that was really interesting about this one is that all of the members were like super hands-on in the production of this album. Like one of the members, V, he was the visual project manager. Jungkook directed the music video for Life Goes On. I think he did some other things. They all like wrote like all of the music. So it's been like praised pretty highly for just being like pretty like really authentic. Okay. Which like in the past they have written music in their other albums. I think they typically do. But I think this is like very hands-on that they got during this one.
Okay. And so there's like I watched some of the music videos too, right? And the music videos make it they make it seem like they were all like in a house together, or they were all kind of like together in the making of this, right? Which is cool, right? Like I think it goes to that like collaborative thing you were just talking about, like if they're all together working on this one thing.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you know this, but K-pop idols, if they're in like a band, they typically do live together while they're training. They don't always live together. Like they each have their own houses. But they do like have like a place where they can all go and stay together. So they don't like stay together like or live together for like the entire duration of their career. But yeah, so that definitely like wasn't something totally like weird, I guess, if you know about it.
Okay. And are they like friends? Like I don't is there like I don't know if there's BTS drama, right? It's I don't know, like no, but just even like an outsider who's watching the videos and just seeing them on like talk shows, right? It's like it's cool because it's not like three people, right? It's like you get three people, they all maybe have a role and like they work together pretty good, and it's not like it's a band with these like defined roles, or like you're the lead singer and you're the drummer and you play guitar, right? And everyone kind of slots into their role, right? You're even you're talking about like some people rap and some people do production and some people like do the more melodic stuff, right? And so it has this like fluidity that is kind of, I don't know, I can't really, I don't follow music, like, I'm not super into music, right? I follow like just the stuff I really like, but like that fluidity, like I can't think of like a band that I follow that has fluidity like that. And so just like coming to it and watching their videos, like, oh, that's really cool how they all work together, right? Like that. And I guess, but like, is there drama behind that, or like, I don't know.
I mean, I don't know specifically for BTS, but like obviously you can expect all bands to like have drama. But something that's interesting is that Korean idols, do you know that like they train?
So when I put the link for this podcast out, I'll have to find it. There's an episode of Radio Lab that, you know what Radio Lab is, right? It's like that site. Yeah, they did an episode like the 4 or 5 years ago, like the first time I heard about K-pop, they did it about this specific Korean band, right? And a lot of it was about how like their image, like the image of the band is usually like very highly monitored, and the government kind of monitors it a little bit, just like, so that like they're representing South Korea well. And yeah, so they talked like a little bit about like the training and like how like they search for these people.
Right. Yeah. So
for people who they think can like be idols. So that's what they're called? They're all idols, or okay.
And I mean, I don't know about what role the government has in training. I know that the members, like you audition to be an idol, and then if you get accepted, you train for like however long time. Like sometimes it can be like a couple of months, sometimes it can be years. And so, for example, pulling up BTS's Wikipedia page, Jungkook was, I believe he was like, I want to say, he was very young. He was maybe, like 13, 14, possibly 17. Which was
between 13 and 17. He was a teenager, right?
He was a teenager, and he auditioned for like the South Korean talent show. He wasn't selected, but then he got offers from like different entertainment companies. One of them, which ended up being Big Hit Entertainment, which is the label that BTS is under. And so kind of what happens is like these people audition. They like get into these. They like work with these entertainment companies, and then they get put into bands. These bands. I don't know if they get. I don't actually know how like the groups get formed, but that's sort of how they all get into the same place. And so they're all like pretty young or like younger, and they're kind of like they live together while they train. So you're kind of like growing up around all those people. So I would assume that you grow up like because you grew up and like so close to them, you tend to like get along with them. And I feel like, I mean, yeah, it could be all for the cameras, but I do feel like these members do have really good relationships with each other. Because they do have they have a variety show called Run BTS. They do other things. They're like working in collaboration with MapleStory, the video game, to like do things with it, and like they live stream a lot. And I don't know, they all seem to be like really, really close with each other, which is cool.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I was just looking a little bit at that Refinery 29 article you shared, and it was saying, so they released Map of the Soul 7 on February 21st, and it says that there was plans for a world tour, and then because that got shut down like weeks later, right at the beginning of March, instead of just like scrapping it and doing nothing, they all got together and were like, we have to like quarantine, right? We have to sort of stay in one place. So they all got together, and then they decided to make an album. So they released Map of the Soul 7, and this is one that's called B, right? Is it called? Yeah. So those were released pretty close to each other. Earlier this year. So yeah, that's nice. That's cool that they were like, I don't know, for those of us who like weren't productive in it's cool that they were. It's very cool that they were. Nice. Okay. Do we want to talk a little bit more about B? I have so I did not know this was their 9th album. How long have they been a band?
They formed in 2010. They formed in 2010, started with the group leader RM, and then they got all the other. So we should probably say all of their names: RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, V, Jungkook. That's all 7 of them. And that's like their stage name. It's not like some of them it's like real name, like Jungkook, that's his real name. But yeah. But I think it wasn't until 2013 that they actually released an album. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there, like, can you talk a little bit about how their sound has progressed? Like, is there people who's like, oh, I like old BTS, right? Like their first albums, and then is there like people who are like, no, I like the newer stuff? Is this like a thing?
No, I'm just thinking about that because I was playing some BTS for my friends, and I played like the first song that comes into mind is Boy in Love, and I kind of want you to go watch the music video and like listen to it, because you'll sort of understand how like, you know how like I feel like all like pop music in like 2010 2012 kind of was like funny but like good, you know?
Can you give me an example? I don't
like Baby by Justin Bieber.
Okay.
But Boy with Love isn't like that. It was more like, it was kind of like a little bit of more like edgy almost, you know, like think about how like Panic at the Disco was before it got like all poppy, you know? That's sort of, I mean, that's sort of how I think of it. So like, I think they were actually originally just going to be solely like a hip hop group, but they're definitely not anymore. So I think that like, yeah, their sound has definitely evolved. And I feel like they've like expanded a lot in what they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over like from album to album. Okay. And do you like all of it? Do you have a era that you prefer? Like, do you think they're just getting better?
I don't know, because like sometimes you want to listen to more uh music, like, because I feel like a lot of the music in B is sort of like there's a lot of like disco or like funk vibes I get from it. Whereas like there's Love Yourself Answer as like different.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice because like whatever like mood I'm feeling, I can just like go to the album I want.
Okay, I was gonna say it's like a mood thing, right? Where they have
Yeah.
an album that matches whatever you like. You know what album matches your mood right now.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. That like I think that we talked about Sufian, did an episode where we're talking about like I think that's why I like him so much. Right? He's got so much music that I can go to him for like kind of whatever I'm feeling. And yeah, it's cool when like an artist has such a big like catalog like that where you can do that. And right, but that also speaks like a big catalog, but also like they progressed as an artist and like made different types of things. That's really cool.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah, if we're gonna talk about like one last thing before we switch it over to yours, is what did you watch their dance videos? And if you did, what did you think?
I did. I mean, so the one, I mean, I think the most impressive one is probably is it Dynamite that they did inside Grand Central?
That was on. Oh, did you watch? Did I send you Idol?
No, you didn't send me the video of it. It might have been on the Spotify playlist, but I didn't have the video of that one. During
Coronacation, they did a performance of Idol on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, which is pretty good. But yeah, the one that you were talking about in Grand Central Station, which is also with Jimmy Fallon, that was on. That one was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, they're like amazing dancers. But it's just like good to watch, and
it's so satisfying to watch.
Yeah. and you get I think that like because I think that was the first song I listened to, right? And just even seeing, right, you're like you've got this like you've got 7 group of people, which is like a lot of people, and like just the way they even shared the spotlight, right? They like shared the front of it's just a big room kind of, but they shared the like front of where they shared the camera's focus like really nicely, and it wasn't like I could not have watched that. And you said RM's the leader. I'm like I couldn't have watched that and been like, oh, this guy's the leader, right? In the same way, like like a more traditional band, you kind of assume that the lead singer, right? He's like in front, he has the microphone, he's kind of right,
like Lady Antebellum.
Yeah. I think it's just Lady A right now.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I haven't listened to them since I was like 12.
Oh yeah, but no, yeah. I think the thing I thought was like, oh, they're all like sharing. Like this is a very collaborative thing, which is cool.
Yeah, I really like that, and I also really like that because like that sort of goes back to how they aren't present in every single song, so you still get to like know them pretty well, like in terms of their music. Yeah.
So you mentioned Justin Timberlake briefly, and like I imagine someone
I did.
Yeah, you mentioned Baby. You were like
Justin Bieber.
Or not you, Justin Timberlake. Sorry, not Justin Bieber. And I imagine someone out there has like written this or thought about this, but like, did you ever? I know you were like too young, but have you ever like listened to NSYNC or the Backstreet Boys?
Boys is I Want It That Way. Is that them?
I think so. I'm not sure who's. I know that song. I don't know which one does that.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know. I remember being in like middle school, and we didn't have like maybe iPods had just come out, but there were those things. Did you ever see those things? It was like this little. It was a little plastic thing, and you would like there was like this like one song would be on like a little disc, and you could put like one song and play like one song at a time. You ever see those?
No, but that sounds really inefficient.
It's horribly. But then like you like collected all the songs, right? They would like put all this like the different singles. And I remember this being very big for like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. It was like these little players and you would like have your collection of a single song. And when you wanted to change the song, you'd have to like change the disc. I forget what it was called, but it was a very like early 2000s things before we had iPods and MP3 players. But I never listened to them. I remember the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC being big, and obviously like Justin Timberlake has went on to a big career. I don't know about the rest of them, but like part of his thing is like they're all like pretty attractive and they can like dance really well. And I don't know. I wonder if there's like a through line from like them to like.
I mean, One Direction. That would be like my NSYNC, I guess. I was never a fan of them.
Okay. Do they dance? Were they big?
I don't know. I didn't really. Okay. I wasn't on that train. It's kind of funny though, because like as I was listening to BTS and getting like into them, I was like, I finally understand how like all of those like crazy like what I thought at the time was like dumb girls are like, it's like, oh my gosh, I know all,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like a through line there. Like people still go nuts for Justin Timberlake or whatever, but like Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were like,
were they like
they were not BTS big. I don't know if they had the worldwide appeal because like BTS is worldwide, like
right.
So I think they're probably bigger, but like I guess I wonder if there's like a through line because I don't think there's like an American boy, like I don't know if there's like a popular American boy band right now.
I feel like they all break up anyways. Yeah. I was actually thinking about that too. I don't know. Yeah. It's also going to be, I'm also like really interested to see, because South Korea has like mandatory military service.
Yeah.
So like they're going to have to go at some point.
Well, no, I was reading. So they're
not going to have to go like now, but they're going to have to go at some point.
Yeah, they recently like changed the law so that it gives the members it's like one or two of them because they're like all roughly the same age, but they're not the exact same age, right?
Yeah.
I think like one or two of them are like they would have to go like in 2021 sometime, but they like change.
I think they're all gonna go at the same time.
Okay, so that they have like they can wait 2 more years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
which is cool. Yeah, I mean that like, and reading. Maybe I can link this Refinery 29. Like I mean, I think we should probably mention this, right? Like, and the other way, like, they popped up not so much the band, but ARMY, right? It's called ARMY. The group, like, the fans are called ARMY. They popped up in a big way this summer.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can probably speak. Yeah, why don't you talk about this, Ange?
I think I know what you're talking about. Are you talking about with Black Lives Matter movement?
Well, so they popped up with the Black Lives. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, okay, so for that, so BTS, I don't know where they donated exactly, but they donated $1 million to support the Black Lives Matter movement. I don't remember exactly what organization it went to, but their fan base, ARMY, essentially like took it upon themselves to match that donation. So it's like people all around there like donated like, so they got to like $1 million, which is like a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And like that was really cool. And then there's a thing when in response to Blackout Tuesday, some specific groups of white people were going to do Whiteout Wednesday. And I sort of like to go against Blackout Tuesday, which was like meant to like show like solidarity for African American people. And so what, not just ARMYs, just like K-pop stans is what I know them as. K-pop stans in general took it upon themselves to basically like spam the hashtag Whiteout Wednesday with like fan cans from K-pop concerts, which I thought was like really funny. I don't know. Yeah.
Like, and then there was also that thing where I think it was like Donald Trump first rally since like the pandemic started, and it might have been on Juneteenth, which is a Black holiday celebrating the end of slavery, like celebrating when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. But Donald Trump was going to go and hold a rally on that day, and like you could sign up for tickets. Like you just had to like send your email in, right? And they like spammed that email and signed up for tickets, right? But they were never going to go, but they just like hogged them so like no one else could go. Right. Just to, and then it ended up like, I think it ended up working. Like, I think the consensus ended up working because like not that many people showed up. You know, maybe people weren't actually going to go because there was a pandemic and you shouldn't be in a crowd, but like, it's cool, right? It seems like a politically motivated fan base. And like, we talked briefly about it, right? Like you're going to find like toxic people that are like, take it probably to the extreme in a way that's like a little bit unhealthy in any fan base, right? That's like part of the problem of fandom. But like, you know, on the whole, it seems like they're like, and BTS, like, that comes from the group, right? Like that, you know, I think that it says something about the people that like that BTS is, right? And like they're mindful of like what type of fandom they're cultivating, right? With like trying to get their fans to like donate to Black Lives Matter and stuff. So like that's really cool because like I mean they obviously have a huge fandom, but like I don't know of other fandoms doing that, you know? Like you hear like, I don't know, I guess you just tend to hear like negative stuff about like people being upset about Star Wars or whatever. So that's really, no, it's, but like, I don't know. So it's good to hear about them, like, you know, being aware of who their fans are and trying to like motivate them to like support really just and important causes. And it's cool that they're aware of it, right? They're not just like famous and leave it at that, right? They're like aware of the bigger mission.
And especially because they're like a Korean boy band, right? And like I feel like, I don't know, like the Black Lives Matter movement, like it happens everywhere, but like specifically like, over the summer, like it was really big, you know, like in America. And so I feel like I'm not saying like they didn't have to get involved, but like they definitely like, I don't know. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
No, yeah, they don't have to get involved, right?
Right.
There is a version of this where they're just like, we're from Korea, we're not from the US, we're not in like England or like Europe at all. Like this isn't a huge problem where we live, right?
Right.
But right, that's that thing, like
they like understood that like they have like fans all over the world, and like all different like types of racist backgrounds and whatever, and like it was really heartwarming to see that like they were like, they wanted to like show like support, and they wanted to like do something, you know, for like a community that like they didn't necessarily have to, but they did.
That like understanding that it's like their fan base is beyond Korea and like bigger than themselves. That's absolutely right. That's really cool. I just wanted to like be more specific. So Juneteenth, it's not the day the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, but it is the day that celebrates the emancipation of those people who were enslaved. So it is the day that they were officially free, but the Emancipation Proclamation was signed earlier. Just wanted to specify that. All right. Anything else, Ange?
No, I feel like that's a pretty good spot to leave it off in.
All right. If they come out with another album, I think we should probably do another episode.
Oh, totally.
There's more to talk about, right? Like, yeah, I'm sure we can find more to talk about.
Would you listen to them again on your own free will?
Yeah, I don't listen to... Oh, go ahead.
My, like, plug for it is it's great study music because you don't get distracted by the lyrics because you can't understand most of them.
Yeah.
That's when I listen to it the most.
Yeah, I don't listen to Spotify a ton, but like I have a playlist with a couple of songs on it. So I think I'll definitely add Blue, Gray, and Life Goes On, and I'll go through that playlist you sent me. I don't listen to a ton of music, but no, it was I would definitely
Sufjan
be interested.
Stevens.
I don't even like. I mean, I listen to so many podcasts, and like but I think you're right. Like, it is music I can't put on when I'm studying because it doesn't have lyrics. Because I can't listen to music with lyrics when I'm trying to concentrate. So it definitely can be that music for me,
Mhm.
which is great. All right, you ready to transition from K-pop to Christmas
Can I
music?
just add real quick that while I was waiting for you, I was like re-listening to like some of the songs from the BTS album, and then I started listening to Sufjan Stevens playlist, and like the vibe totally changed.
What Sufjan Stevens playlist?
I put on the Christmas songs. The first one I listened to was "Christmas in the Room," which
Okay.
I guess but it was just like funny.
Yeah. So I was like, I was listening because I don't, I like kind of save that song. Actually, I try not to like over listen to it because I don't know, it's really special. And then I was like listening and I had sent out a tweet. I was like, that's like Christmas in 2020, right? Because it's about
Mm.
like people who are alone and like Christmas can't be whatever it was in the past, right? It has to be the thing that you make. And I was like, oh, this is really like, I mean, that's what it is like for me and Darien here, right? Like, we're not going home. Like it's gonna be the two of us for Christmas, and I imagine like a lot of people are in that situation. So I think we'll be listening to a lot more of Christmas in the Room. But that's at the top of our list. So we're talking about Sufjan Stevens, right? We did. I think our second episode was about his album, The Ascension. He has made a ton of Christmas music. The story is, I think this is true. I don't know for sure, but that he makes like little Christmas albums as like presents for, people in his life. And then eventually after a couple of years, he puts it all together in like a big compilation and then releases it. So he's put out like five or six of them. He put out like five smaller ones, and then he put out one big one that was like 50 songs, like 4 or 5 years ago. So there's a lot of it, and it's kind of, well, so I guess this is a question. Do you like the music, or is it just Christmas? Does it just remind you of Christmas because it was just like what David and Jonathan played all the time at Christmas?
It's more so the second, especially Christmas Unicorn. I remember one year John took me to Noodles, and he just kept on like being like, "Are you a Christmas unicorn, Angel?" And I was just like, "What the hell?" Yeah, it's definitely like it reminds me of like hanging out with you guys.
Okay. Okay. Then we should have made room for Buffalo Soldier on this.
Yeah. Or
Our
Enya.
what pardon?
Enya. I
And
remember hearing a lot of that.
yeah. I think that was just like one Christmas that David kept playing Buffalo Soldier, just like on repeat.
Uh-huh.
Our oldest brother, like, so I mean, but I think that almost, so that kind of gets to one of the things that came up. So we each like made a list of some of our favorite Sufjan songs. I like this a little bit more than Angela.
I had 4 songs.
She had
Joseph, how
4
many
songs.
did you have?
I had 15. I started out with 28, and I was like, I got to get this down to like 15. And one of the things I was thinking about is like, I think a lot of Christmas music it's like very focused on like the idea of what Christmas should be, right? And so it's like there's a lot of people, and it's like happy and it's bright and it's like, there's like toys and there's Santa, right? It's like very, a lot of, I think you're like traditional Christmas music, and I love that. Like the stuff they play on the radio, I love that stuff. Like I'm not knocking it, but I think it's like sort of wrapped up in Christmas should be. And like I think Sufjan's Christmas music, I think the reason I like it so much is it's much more about like what Christmas actually is and how Christmas is. And I guess, even like saying Christmas, just like this time of year, just what this time of year is for so many people is like varies wildly, right? And it's like a very unique and individual thing, right? And so if like you're a kid and your brother's playing Buffalo Soldier all the time, like that's a thing you remember.
That's Christmas.
That's Christmas.
Just like Lord of the Rings, that's Christmas.
That's Christmas, absolutely. And so I think that's something that like Sufian gets at in a lot of these songs, right? Like, and I think especially with Christmas Unicorn, right? The idea that Christmas is no specific thing, and again, like this time of year, right? The end of the year, because like not everyone celebrates Christmas, right? Like there's so many holidays going on, right? There's Hanukkah, there's Kwanzaa, there's if you're pagan, you're celebrating the winter solstice, right? There's Diwali, which is more like October, November. There's Chinese New Year. There's Las Posadas. Like there's all these other holidays happening at this time of the year, right? So like people are celebrating and enjoying food, enjoying company, enjoying like music, enjoying whatever in so many different ways. And I think there's space for that in Sufjan's music in a way that there isn't in like Frosty the Snowman or something, I don't.
Or Last Christmas.
Or Last Christmas, yeah. Both of which I like those songs, but like I think Sufjan's giving us a little bit something more. So Angela has a list of 4, and her 4 and my 4 are like very similar. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on the rest of my list because I don't want to like. It doesn't need
because I have plans this weekend. Can't be sitting here on my couch talking about all these songs.
Yeah. So when I was making this, a couple of things were like coming to head, right? It was like Sufian, he makes space for what this holiday season is, right? For it to be like very specific and unique to different people. I think he also captures some of those very specific memories, right? Like we said, like when you're a kid, those things, like those memories are very intense, right? And I think in the same way, like they say, like the first Star Wars movie you ever watch is like your favorite one, right? Because you're probably a kid and it's like amazing, and before you can like think about like whether or not it was actually good, it's just amazing, right? And so like, I think I still have that little like Christmas was never as special maybe as when you're like 9 or 10, right? When like, or maybe like the last year you believe in Santa or something. I don't know. So those like those like very intense memories from when you're a kid and like you're around a bunch of adults, right? And so like, he has songs like "Did I Make You Cry at Christmas Time" or whatever, right? And which is about like what happens when you get a bunch of people together and like maybe they haven't seen each other and like all these emotions and like these personalities are colliding. So I was thinking about that, and then also kind of he's from Detroit, right? So he's from the Midwest, and I think this time of the year it's like the December 21st, the shortest day of the year, so it's like the darkest. In the Midwest you get a lot of snow, and you remember those nights, Andrew, when it's like there's a lot of snow on the ground and it's like the moon's really bright, and the way like the moon, it doesn't get dark because the moon is reflecting off the snow, so it's just kind of this like eerie glow outside. I was thinking about like that when I was listening to his music. Yeah, I don't know. It brought up a lot of stuff. So, but I kind of broke like the songs of his that I like into like 4 different categories. So there's like kind of like religious-ish songs, right? Where he does like carols that you might sing in like church or something. And these could be like, Amazing Grace, O Come Emmanuel, He Came Upon a Midnight Clear, Angels You Have Heard on High, things like that. The other category, another category was like a kid at Christmas, right? So it was like specific Christmas memories. Um, I also think there's a lot of the other one, and these are probably some of his best songs, is about like how lonely this time of year can be, right? Because it's,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're told by like TV and music and whatever that like we're all supposed to like be together, right? And like that, I don't know, like family relationship, family relationships are complicated, friend relationships are complicated, right? Like not everyone has someone at this time of year. Not everyone's like happy about this time of year. Like, maybe the memories aren't great or whatever, right? And so I think there's a lot of space, a lot of his Christmas music about how this is like a lonely and difficult time of year, and it's a time of reflection, and that reflection, it's you're not always remembering good things. And then the last category is kind of like giving, like I called it like the stars out there. I think it's about like kind of giving over or into something like bigger or more grand in yourself. And uh I think like those last two categories about like loneliness and about sort of like looking up at the stars and sort of like imagining what's up there and interacting with that. I think those are some of his better songs. So I have a list. I'm going to put this in the show notes. We're not going to go through everything. I just want to highlight a couple before we get to our top songs, right? So one that does a really good job of like kind of, I think it's one of his more joyful songs. It's called Christmas Spirit Catcher. And it's kind of just about like interacting with some of the more joyful things that like are associated with this time of the year. It's like a much more upbeat. A lot of these songs like are kind of like low, like a lot of like bells and like synthesizers, but just not super like upbeat songs. But this one is, so that's a really good one. The next one, this one was kind of the like the kid at Christmas, those hanging on to those memories of when you or of the holiday season when you're a child, and it's called Lumberjack Christmas / No One Can Save You from Christmas's Past. I
Oh.
was debating. I know, like dark, right? It's not necessarily a happy song, but it's about like, you might have memories of this time of year, and they're not all happy. They're not all good. He has another song. I don't think it's as good, but he has another song. Did I Make You Cry at Christmas Time?
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I don't know if I heard, like, in my mind, either David or John said this, but like I don't know, maybe I heard it on TV, but like in my head, David said like it's not Christmas unless someone cries one time. So, and I don't know, you remember, like you've been home for Christmas, like, people definitely have cried before. Those aren't always happy. There's fights and arguments. So yeah, that's like so that song No One Can Save You from Christmas Past, just about like it's more about letting go of those bad memories than lingering on them. It's about letting them go and sort of, kind of enjoying the time that is now. But that's a good song. My favorite sort of religious-ish song of his, I think, is Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Um, if you're like our sister Rebecca and you don't like Sufjan's voice, that's fine. You're not going to like this song either, because this is like, the music's pretty sparse and it's really him and that like singing slow and a little bit low, and you're really like sitting with his voice and all of the emotion in his voice in that song. And it's a good reinterpretation of that. I think that's a hymn, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. It's a really good reinterpretation of that. So I like that one. And then so Angela has the top four, and her top four and my top three are all the same song. So I think we'll just start there. And then Angela you also have Christmas Unicorn, which I didn't put on this list.
I have a funny thing about that.
Okay, let's start with Christmas Unicorn. Let's start talking about that one.
So Christmas Unicorn. It's like a 12-minute song. I talked about going to Noodles with Jonathan. That's basically right. The only reason why it's on there is because I heard it so much when I was with him. And when I was waiting for you, I was like, what is this song about anyways? And I Googled it. Reddit didn't know, but they did point me to an 80-page thesis paper. It's called from Baylor University, a student. Do you know what I'm talking about? I linked it.
I looked at this. I didn't look how long it was. I did not know it was 80. I was like, maybe you got 20 pages out of this?
It is 80 pages long.
Okay.
And because you were gone for so long, I read it.
You read it?
I didn't read all. I skimmed.
Okay,
yeah. And essentially, it's pretty up to interpretation. Mm-hmm. I also learned of the term word salad, which I feel like fits this song pretty nicely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like fun. Yeah, I think I get the vibe that maybe a lot of Sufjan Stevens music is not as not like Christmas Unicorn, right? Because they're talking about like songs like Christmas in the Room, like Sister Winter, songs like that.
Yeah.
And then you're hit with a Christmas Unicorn at the end. Yeah. I'm pretty sure this is like the closing song for the album.
It
right?
Is.
Yeah.
It absolutely is, right? And I think you absolutely, I think the way you said it perfectly, you're hit with the Christmas Unicorn, right? Because it comes at the end of an album. It comes right after some like slower songs, and you're like, you and then you know that you said fun. Like, this song is fun. I think that's why I didn't actually put it on. Like, I love this song. It's not like it. You know, it's called Christmas Unicorn. I would go to this song any time of year. I go to some of these songs any time of year, to be honest. But it's like extremely random. It's word salad's really good. I think if you want it to be dumb and fun and just like it sounds really good, and it's weird, right? Like I think it can be that, but then I think there is something in there, right? I skimmed the abstract for this paper. One of the things they mentioned is how Christmas can be anything, right? That's another thing of this song, right? Like it can be this like, if you want it to be like this hyper capitalist thing, like fine. If you want it to be this like family thing, fine. If you want it can be whatever you want. And I think Christmas, but it also like, I don't know, like Christmas Unicorn doesn't mean anything, right? And so I think another part is like Christmas means whatever you want it to mean, or this part of the year means whatever you want it to mean. If it doesn't mean anything to you, then like fine, right? That's you are also the Christmas Unicorn as well. So yeah, but I think you know that it does hit you at the end of that album, and it is a very fun song. It includes it has some like samples from some of his other really good songs in it, which I really like. So it's in conversation with some of his other much more upbeat, actually, some of his more electronic music. Okay, so that's Christmas Unicorn. That was Angela's number 3.
Yes.
Right. So Angela's number 4 and my number 1. Angela's number 4 and my number 1 is Star of Wonder. What do you tell me talking about Star of Wonder?
I mean, going back to like memories, I remember the first time I listened to the song, we were driving to the comic book store because you went through that phase where you needed to go to the comic store every week.
I don't go every week, but I still go to the comic book store.
Yeah, I remember you played this one, and I mean, whenever I think this doesn't sound mean, but like because like I'm not as much of a Sufjan Stevens stan as you are, so when I find a song I like, it's like, oh my goodness, and this was one of them, and I like the music. The words, I'm just trying to look at the lyrics. I didn't really think too hard on them, but I really like the vibe. If that makes sense. You probably...
No, absolutely.
I think this is like maybe the one I almost didn't put on there because I was like, I do not have a lot to say about this one.
No, but like even I think you're right. Like, because this song is pretty. I think it repeats. Like, I think that's like line. I see the stars coming down there repeats like over and over again, right? So I think like the words. Well, I take some meaning from them. I don't think it matters too much. Like this, it is like a beautiful song, right? There's he's singing. I think there's like a chorus in there as well, backing him up, and like a lot of beautiful like bell sounds. A lot of his music has a lot of like really beautiful bell songs, but this song in particular, this song for me falls into that category of like sort of, I called it like the stars out there category, right? Like it kind of just looking up and sort of like wondering what's out there, right? And like, thinking about what's in you and how, you can kind of contrasting that with how big the rest of the world or like the rest of the universe is, right? Like this song to me very much is like those cold like nights in, we're from Wisconsin, those like very cold nights when they're like, it's super clear. There's snow on the ground. The moon is like very bright and it's reflecting this light off the snow. Like, the picture I was mentioning before, and you're just sort of like looking up and you can see the stars and like, the chorus is like, I can see the stars, coming down. Right. And it just kind of feels, you're kind of filled up like that. Right. And like, there's nothing I'm like realizing like, oh, there's nothing particularly Christmassy about this. Right. But like, which goes back to that, maybe it's just the fact that he put it on a Christmas album. But like, yeah, I love this song, for all that, for his voice, way it sounds, and for what it brings up. That's really funny that you remember. I remember I would always drag you along to the comic book store. I don't remember specifically putting this song on, but
I remember because it would like we'd always go and it'd be dark out because it's like Christmas time, winter.
Yeah, it gets dark at like 3:30.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this. Yeah. And also, like, I have that same memory with Sister Winter as well because I remember like there was a time. Remember the first time we tried to start a podcast?
I do.
I feel like we would. Yeah.
Oh, do you remember what we talked about?
We talked about Spectacular Now, and yeah, we did.
We talked about Rogue One.
No. We talked about Spectacular Now because I made a joke that I thought was really clever about how like that chick is like in every single teenage movie.
And she was in that show, right? Secret Life of American Teenager.
Yeah, if you need like an American teenager, she literally is your girl. Probably not anymore.
I think we also recorded a podcast about Rogue One, right?
Maybe. I don't remember that. Wait, yes, I do.
Was it Rogue? Or maybe it was a different Star Wars movie. I do remember this Spectacular Now that you did that. I think we didn't. Did we do that over the internet?
No, we did it. We did it in like the computer room downstairs at our house.
Because this is a tangent. Because I remember one summer we tried to do that, right?
That was over the phone, yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
That didn't work either.
All right. Well, so your number 4 is Star of Wonder. Your number 3 is Christmas Union, and then 2 is Sister Winter. So why is? Talk to me a little about Sister Winter.
I remember you talking to me about that one, like how you interpret it at that time, and I feel like you mentioned. I might just be making this up, but you talked about how like it was like it reminded you of like. This sounds so stupid. I feel like you said it reminded you of like a bear coming out of hibernation.
Oh, I don't know.
I might also just be thinking of the music video from Somewhere Only We Know where like there's like a bear and he goes into hibernation. So like I don't.
I mean,
but I do remember you talking to me about it.
Okay. I mean, I think like it may like I don't. It makes sense maybe why I'd say that, right? So this song is extremely sad. This is one of those like Christmas is a dark and lonely, or the holiday season is a dark and lonely time of year. It can be, right? So this song is about someone who has I think they lost someone close to them, and then they like isolated like intensely, right? They shut everyone out. And this song is like an apology to everyone that they shut out. And like I'm back, kind of like I'm willing to like be vulnerable again, right? And I think maybe I did say bear out of hibernation, right? Because it is somewhat about like re-emerging a little bit into the world after they've shut themselves out because they've experienced some like very intense loss. Um, it is, it's a really, I mean, yeah, this song like gets me every time because I don't know, like I know we talked about some kind of personal stuff about on when we were talking about King of Staten Island, and like you know Angela, so like you know full transparency, Angela and I haven't recorded in a couple of weeks, and that is totally on me, just because I don't know, it's been like a little, I feel like as quarantine goes on, I almost get like worse at handling it, and when that happens to me, I like shut in and close down, and even people that I know I should talk to, right? Even things I know I should do, because I always feel better after we do this podcast, right? But I like shut down and I close in and I want to pretend like other people don't exist when I don't feel good. And so I get the feeling of like this person in this song who went through and felt something horrible and shut everyone out, and then now at this time of year they're willing to like reemerge, and they're sorry about it. It's interesting actually, because I used to like own, so Sister Winter and Star of Wonder are on the same album, but like I found Star of Wonder, I thought it was like this amazing song, and then it was like 2 years later I like listened to Sister Winter one time. I was like, oh, this song's also really good. So it was like, it's either because there's so much music, I was like, I just hadn't like listened to it, and like I remember specifically being like, why did I just why I ignored this song for like a couple years? Like, why did I do that? But Sister Winter is very wonderful, wonderful song. All right, that brings us to the last one. Angela's number one song, my number two, Christmas in the Room.
Yeah. You know what that song reminds me of?
What?
This Christmas by Oh Wonder. You know that one?
I know. I'm gonna confuse it with Last Christmas.
No, you should listen to it. It's not new, but like it's not. I don't know the last time you listened to Oh Wonder.
I think I know this song.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the lyrics right now because I'll know. No, I don't know this song. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to listen to this song. Talk to me.
So
Why
yeah,
does it remind you?
they're both like songs about like kind of being alone or like wanting to be alone, I guess, with somebody. Specifically Christmas in the Room. It was like, let me look up the lyrics. I think there was something special just about simply saying like it's Christmas in the room, Yeah. That maybe goes back to what you were saying about one of those four. I should really stay on beat my tabs.
One of my 4 categories?
One of your 4 categories.
Oh.
Yeah, loneliest time of the year, that one.
Okay.
And it just like, it like, I guess the imagery that it makes me think of, like an empty shopping mall or something, or like just like a living room with just like nobody in it.
Yeah.
And sort of he's saying like, I'm gonna like dance with you, I'll laugh with you, I'll sing with, like, we'll make it Christmas. That I thought that kind of seemed really special, and I like that.
Yeah, I think it's a good reminder. I guess this is why I was saying, so because there was a couple of years where, like, I would put a song on repeat, right? And I think music sometimes loses its like importance when you do that. So like I actually haven't listened to this song specifically a ton, but I put it on like yesterday and today, and I was like, oh, this is like this is like I said before, this is the song for right now, right? Because like I think it's a really good reminder that like Christmas is something that you create, right? Like, because those memories are wonderful and great, right? If you have them, like that's wonderful, and like hold on to those. But like, it also has to be that thing you can make for yourself, right? And there's a lot of like joy and magic in being able to create that feeling, right? That I think it's just joy, right? Being able to create joy and happiness just with like another person, a couple other people, without those like without the trappings of like the presents or a bunch of food or like a bunch of people or malls or whatever, right? Things very much that like we're doing without this year. And yeah,
Yeah. And something that I kind of was thinking about is like, I wonder, like, will this song mean anything different to you as you spend like your first Christmas not with us and with your girlfriend?
yeah, no, I think it absolutely will. I was glad I kind of put it off because I was like, I know I was putting it off a little bit because like I know that song's good, I know I like it, and it'll be at the top of the list. But so when I was listening to it again, I was like, oh no, I need to like we got like you know the limitation of listening to Christmas music kind of runs out on the 1st of January maybe. So I gotta soak this song in for the next couple of weeks for sure. But I think it absolutely will. And I think that'll be cool, right? Because I think that is sort of going to be its own memory then, right? That'll be its
Yeah.
own memory. It's like, oh, remember that Christmas we were dealing with the coronavirus pandemic and we were like in this tiny apartment and, we had to like figure out what it is for just the two of us. And
Yeah.
that song's a part of it. So I think that'll be really cool, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to add, Ange?
I thought that we were going to make a Spotify playlist where we would add all of these songs, but you never added the songs, so.
Well, so you have the BTS one.
I have many BTS K-pop. Can you link my Spotify account?
I can link your Spotify account. If you throw it in the Google Doc and I'll link it.
Yeah, because you know how you can like edit like the song playlist art covers?
No, I don't. On Spotify?
Okay. Yeah, well you can. Okay. You can like, it's like, yeah, I edited all my Spotify playlist covers and I think they're really funny. And I edited all my playlist names and I think I'm really funny, I guess, and I want to share it.
All right. Well, so I'll link the BTS playlist you gave to me. I'll link your Spotify account, and then we'll link a playlist of Sufian Christmas music too with the songs that we picked. There'll be about 15 songs on there, so people can enjoy that. And I think we should move into the next segment of the show. We'll take a short break, and we'll see you in a second.
Alrighty. What's making you happy this week?
So have you seen Survivor? Have you watched Survivor?
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay.
I've seen like funny TikTok videos of it.
Oh, what is Survivor TikTok or?
One of them is like, there's this girl who's just like crouching in the sand being like, am I stupid? And then the guy's just like,
All right. I think I might be Survivored out at this point, but over the last 2 weeks when I was avoiding Angela and doing this podcast, I watched a lot of Survivor, like 3 or 4 seasons. They're only like 14 episodes a season, but they're like 40-minute episodes. It's a lot, but I watched like 3 or 4 seasons, and I've always listened. I know a couple people who are like really into Survivor, and I was like, that's fine, whatever. Like, I think it confused me a little bit because it's like it's a physical thing, but it's also like a social thing. So I was like, I don't really understand what's going on here. But so yeah, after watching a couple of seasons, like I'm not like all the way in. I don't think I'm not gonna like when they come out with new seasons. I don't know if I'm gonna like watch it. Probably not. But like I get the appeal, right? I get like over the course of like 14 episodes, they really, they figure out who you need to get to know and who's really interesting, and they really like kind of they're very good at creating like a very compelling narrative for how these people's relationships, how these people manipulate each other, how they like trust and don't trust and interact with each other, and exist in these sort of like remote locations for up to 39 days at a time. I think I'm still a little bit baffled by like the game aspect, just because I know I would be so terrible. Like I can't manipulate people like that, right? And so like watching, it's kind of interesting to watch other people do it, but like I think I'm still a little bit baffled by like the social part of the game, just because I know I would be so bad at it. But it's interesting to watch. It's like you can kind of have it on and be doing something else. I had it on when I was like working on when I was like making lessons and stuff. So they like just like listening without the visuals too much, you'll get what you need to know, just kind of half attention. But it's if you're like got time on your hands, or you need some noise, like there's a bunch of Survivor episodes and seasons on Hulu.
On Netflix? Hulu.
There's 2 seasons on Netflix, and I did a little bit of research, like best Survivor seasons, and the 2 seasons that they put on Netflix like kept coming up over and over again. So it seems like they picked 2 really good seasons, put them on Netflix. And the first season I watched was one of the seasons on Netflix, and then a bunch more on Hulu. But yeah. So Survivor.
Cool.
All right, what about you, Ench?
Funny. So do you know who Lynn Lapid is?
Say that again.
Lynn Lapid. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm so sorry if I'm not.
I know who Lauren Lapkus is. I don't know who Lynn.
No, Lynn Lapid. So she's a 17-year-old girl. She got attention by posting some of her songs and covers on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And one of the song that she wrote got super popular. It's called Producer Man. And it's about how, like, when she was approached by some dude from, like, a record label, and he was like, hey, I'll make you lots of money, but you just gotta, like, change everything about you. And she was like, no, thank you. And then the guy was like, well, you suck. So she wrote a song about him. Mm-hmm. And she has a really, really nice voice. And essentially, that song, she put it on TikTok. It got a lot of exposure. Mm-hmm. And now she has a deal with Republic Records.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but so I was stalking her YouTube account because she has a couple of covers, and she has a really nice voice. I really like her vibe. I don't know. I liked, she did a cover of Sad by XXXTentacion, but in the background, it's a guitar cover of IFLY by Bazzi. Do you understand anything I just said?
I mean, IFLY by Bazzi, I don't know what that means.
I think it's pronounced Bazzi. I don't know. It's another song, but it's like, she has a really pretty voice. I would recommend, I put a link to her YouTube channel in for you to include.
Okay.
Underneath my Sufjan Stevens meme that I was going to ask you about.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see what else she comes out with, because I definitely have been trying to like listen to more like, I was trying to expand like my music, because I feel like I've been listening to a lot of K-pop, and I like to like switch it up. So I've been trying to find some new artists.
Okay.
And she's really cool.
All right.
Plus she's like only 17, which is wild.
Nice. And so she does have an album out yet, or she just has a couple?
No, she just has that single on her, but it's just, that's the only on her Spotify. But her YouTube, she has like covers that she did before she was like got all this attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. We'll put a link to her YouTube in the show notes. That's great, Ange. No, I think we've done, we did the other music episode. I like this episode.
I feel like music episodes are the easiest to do, because it's not like watching a movie where you have to be like, all right, 2 hours of movie.
Well, but an album
Let's go.
could be like an hour long. I don't know.
That's true.
I don't know. But
you can like jump from song to song without like being like, who's that character? Who died?
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We've had some good conversations at least, so maybe we'll have to do some more music.
I think we're just good at everything.
Yes, that's probably it. All right, I think we'll wrap it up there. Angel's got stuff to do. She's got Animal.
Well, not anymore.
You're not gonna play Animal Crossing?
They're all done. They were texting me, be like, "Where are you?" And I was like, uncertain if I'm going to make it tonight.
All right.
It's okay.
All right, sorry, Ange.
It's okay.
Thank you for doing this. It has been fun. I've enjoyed it. Just to wrap up here, so we're gonna have a bunch of stuff in the show notes. Also, looking forward to our next episode. It's going to be our last Studio Ghibli episode, our next one. So we're going to be watching Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away. For our next episode, we're going to do 2 movies, so it might be a little bit longer of a one. And then we're going to pick, we've decided, like, in 2021, we like doing, like, a bunch of movies by the same, like, studio or the same, like, director or something. So in 2021, we're going to do some Wes Anderson movies, which I'm really excited about, because he has some really good movies that I really enjoy. And have you seen, what Wes Anderson movies have you seen?
Isle of the Dogs and Life Aquatic.
Oh, so you have seen Isle of Dogs?
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta watch that one.
Watched it last year.
Okay, I gotta watch that one. It comes to Disney Plus in January, so...
Just that one, or all of his movies?
I think Fantastic Mr. Fox is on there now. I think Isle of Dogs comes in January. But then the other ones are like... Those are the only 2 animated ones. The other, I don't know where the other ones... We'll figure out where to find those. Alright, but that's us. You can follow Angela on Instagram at glow.angela. You can follow me on Twitter at Joey Glowacki. That's JoeyGlowacky. All the music in this episode is the song Something Elated by the band Broke for Free. You can find their music on the Free Music Archive. And we will see you next week, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Never in my life did I imagine it.